Bam! Hey guys, what's happening? It's me again, Honest Dave, coming to you today with another knife review. Today we're going to be looking at the Zero Tolerance 0200 military folding knife. Now, this blade I really do enjoy. I love this knife. But it's a love-hate relationship. So what I'm going to do is first talk about the good things about it. Also the stats, of course. But then we're going to talk about my problems with it. And if you love zero tolerance knives and you're like a fanboy, yeah, this may or may not be the video for you. Maybe, who knows, maybe you're open-minded. Or who knows, maybe you're going to want me dead afterwards. Let's go with it. Now, like I said, this is the ZT-0200 with the serrated blade. Well, half serrated. Now, for years, I've been wanting a ZT. And, well, I finally got my hands on one after a trade I did for a Balisong. Now, what do I love about this knife? Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. First, let's talk about the stats. The closed length of this knife is 5 1/4 inches. The blade is a solid 4 inches if you measure it from here, which is where I think they're measuring it from, but most knife laws will measure it from here. So it'd be more around a 3 1/2 inch blade. The overall length of this knife is 9 1/4 inches long, and the blade thickness is 0.156 inches. The blade is made up of 154 cm stainless steel with a tungsten diamond light coating, or DLC. The handle I do love. I really love this handle. It is machined G10 3D over an open pillar construction with thick stainless steel liners. It comes with kind of a small pocket clip for a knife this large, but that doesn't really bother me, which is 4-way positionable. I love that. I really do wish more companies would do that. It comes with a nice large recurved blade with the serrations from KAI companies, or it may just be K. I don't actually know how you pronounce that. It's kind of like SOG. Like, do you pronounce it SOG or SOG? Or whatever. Let's not get into a rant. Now, this is an American-made knife from an American company. And Zero Tolerance, from what I've read, prides themselves on overbuilding their knives. And trust me, that is no lie. It comes with these very large thumb studs, which can easily deploy the knife. Or if you're like me, it also comes with this very nice flipper. I love that. I do love a knife that flips. Now, when you get it, you might have to oil it up a bit, because at first it is kind of hard to flip out, but then again, it is a large blade. But after a while, it becomes very easily. Now, this knife weighs a whopping 7.7 ounces. If I'm correct, that is over half a pound. Of course, maybe I'm wrong. Do not always trust my math skills. It comes with semi-aggressive jimping on the ramp of the blade. It does its job really well. And with the palm swell and the finger guard, this knife really would be hard to get out of your hands. That and the G10, which is this beautiful machined G10. It's not overly aggressive, but it's definitely not slippery. Kind of where I think Cold Steel should be with their G10. Trust me, anyone who's ever had the AK-47, the Recon 1, or the American lawman knows exactly what I'm talking about. That stuff will rip your pockets up. Now, like I said, this is an open pillar construction for easy cleaning with skeletonized liners. Be kind of hard to see. I'll try and help. Yeah, you can clearly see those holes, I hope. It is quite a thick liner, which I am both happy and not happy with. Personally, I would prefer this knife to be a frame lock because, you know, it's just kind of a known fact that liners are considerably weaker than a frame lock. Maybe some don't agree with it, maybe some think I'm an asshole for saying that. You know, you're all right to your opinion. But this is quite a strong knife, like I said. It has a very thick liner, a very, very prominent opening that just sounds safe. No blade plate. Comes with these very large handle screws and spacers. But what really gives it its strength, in my opinion, is this overly large pivot bolt. And yes, it's a pivot bolt, not a pivot screw. Now, how large is that pivot bolt? Compare that to a Spyderco Endura. Yeah. And the Endura has quite a lot of lock strength to it. Now, with all that said, there are problems why I don't like to carry this particular knife. Mainly is the weight. 7.7 ounces. That is quite heavy for a pocket knife. We'll go back to this. This is my current EDC and one of my favorite EDCs. Why? Because it's a nice large blade at 3 3/4 inches long with a nice handle and a nice lockup. This is only 3.7 ounces, if I remember correctly. Now, yes, I know some people look at this knife and say, like, you know, I'd have no problem carrying that. Well, that's great. I'm really glad you would love to carry a knife this large. If you love big knives, hey, more power to you guys. I love big knives myself, but personally, like I said, I prefer something a little bit lighter in the pocket. And I guess since we got this out, we might as well compare it. You see how thick that is compared to that. You see how wide it is compared to that knife. The length itself is roughly the same. And honestly, they do seem to be roughly the same length altogether. But like I said, that's my one problem with this knife. This knife is just overly large. And I know that is, you know, ZT's intention to make an overly large knife for the military. And that's what this knife would be great at, in my opinion. It would be combat. With its nice large recurved blade. It's about, I'd say about 1 inch or so, you know, from here to here. It's good grip, because like I said, this knife, it has great grip in my opinion. Unfortunately, the pocket clip does cause a hot spot in the palm of your hand. And sometimes my fingers, the meat of my fingers will get caught right here, and that's very uncomfortable. And that's where one of my main problems is. It's just not a comfortable knife to carry. I mean, that's my problem with my old Kamloops knife I used to have. It was just an uncomfortable knife to carry in the hand or in the pocket. Because keep in mind, I carry quite a few things in my pocket, so, you know, this would definitely weigh you down when you start adding stuff to there. Like my wallet, my cigarettes, my lighter, my pen, my light. You know, you add all that stuff up, and like I said, it will get quite heavy. But now, let's say you didn't carry all that stuff. Let's say you just carried your phone, your wallet, and a knife. I don't think this one would hold you down too much. Now, where my problem is, though, like I said, this was designed for the military. This knife is more designed for combat. Because, you know, we're not going to give our military the crap knives. We're not going to give them Smith & Wesson. We're not going to give them M-Tech shit. Even though M-Tech would love you to believe that, oh, our military uses our crappy knives. They don't. This is just more designed, you know, for a combat thing. Which, if I was going to war, I would love to have this by my side. I would strap this in my pocket in a millisecond. But I don't. I'm an average guy. I work in a pharmacy. I don't really need to carry something this big. Like I said, yeah, a Delica would actually be more appropriate for me. Like I said, I like a larger blade. Now, what is the lockup like? Well, I don't really feel any blade play. There might be a slight bit of side to side, which can be tightened down. But, you know, that's no real problem. Up and down blade play? Nothing. Solid as a rock. Probably not the best way to test this, but, you know what I mean. Now, will this knife fail? Yes, every knife can fail. Folders are fixed blades. Then again, you really shouldn't be putting any pressure on the back of the spine of the knife, because that will cause it to close, unfortunately, and trust me, that might take a few fingers, or if you're lucky, just give you a few stitches. Another thing I don't like, and this is not against this knife in particular, it's really against any knife that uses this, I really do not like Kershaw serrations right here. They have a tendency to break, chip, and snap. I know a guy with a Kershaw Blur with these exact same serrations, and they are snapping just by cutting zip ties. That's ridiculous. If you want good serrations, in my opinion, the Spider Edge or the CRKT VEF serrations, flat or regular. So, that's really all I gotta say about this knife. And by the way, I don't know if I said this or not, but this is a USA made knife by Mr. Ken Onion, who is a great knife designer. Trust me, pretty much anyone who collects knives, they have at least a few of his blades in their collection. But yeah, that's really just my feelings on the ZT-0200 combat knife. It is a great knife for particular people. Maybe a big guy who wants a big knife. A military man. A police officer maybe. I think this would be a great police officer's knife. And like I said, the 4-way positional pocket clip, tip down or tip up, left or right hand carry. I love that. I wish every knife company did that who put pocket clips in their knives. And like I said, the thick liners, this hard G10, because really I don't even think you would need the liners with this kind of G10, although they do make you feel more secure, which is fine. I'm just glad they skeletonized the liners, or this thing would weigh a ton, and I would never want to carry it. Now, David, when do you carry this knife? Do you ever carry this knife, or do you have it just for show? I've carried it a few times. I've carried it at least 10 times since I've got it. Now, does that mean I hate the knife? No, I don't hate this knife at all. Although I would be willing to trade it up for a better knife. David, what'd you trade it for? I don't know. A Benchmade, a Spyderco, maybe a Cold Steel Code 4, you know, with a few added things there. I don't know. I'm just spitballing knives I, like. Now, unfortunately, I can't give you the retail price or really any links to this knife because, unfortunately, this is a discontinued blade for the people who wanted it. But you can still go on eBay and find them for around, well, I'd say roughly $130, usually around $160 at max. I don't think I've seen any that go above that. And if you're lucky, maybe you'll find one with a plain edge or serrated edge, whichever one you prefer. I prefer the plain edge myself, but that's just me. Now, this did not come with any boxes. It came in a small pouch. And honestly, the guy told me when I got it, he said perfect condition. And really, he was not lying. I think he was 100% truthful. This knife is in great condition. But, I don't know. Is it the knife for me? I'd say no. Is it the knife for you? Who knows? This is one of ZT's budget blades. Yeah, 160 bucks is budget. Nah, but seriously. Like I said, is this the right knife for you? I don't know. Everyone is different. Everyone likes different knives. Some people prefer tip up. Some people prefer tip down. Some people like tiny little knives. Some people like big, aggressive things. And some people like, in the middle. Some people like Tanto. Some people like serrations. Some people like manual. Some people like auto. Some people like balisongs. Some people like OTFs. Some people like spring assisted. Some prefer the flipper. Some prefer thumb studs. Some people prefer the spider hole. Some people prefer the wave. They're all great designs. Yes, I think some are better than others. Like, well, personally, I think a lockback is better than a ladder lock. That's just me. Personally, I think cold steel makes the best goddamn lock ever on a knife. And I hate saying that because I hate cold steel. I don't hate the knives, but the company pisses me off. Now, I know some people will be saying like, but David, can you suggest any cheaper knives? Gonzo, my friends. Great cheap knives. They're right around the same price as M-Tech or Task Force, and let me tell you right now, they'll hold up a lot better. I'm getting off topic. So, that is my opinions on the ZT, or Zero Tolerance, 0200 American-made military knife by K-On-Yin. It is a great knife for specific people. But with me, based on the size and the weight and the bulk, it's not the knife I grabbed first. But if I was ever in a situation where I had to defend my life, I would definitely want the ZT 0200 by my side. Well guys, this is Honest Dave signing out, and remember, be humble and kind. Bye.